Till that a 13-year-old opened a hot dog stand in front of his home in Minnesota, causing a complaint to the health department. Instead of shutting him down, the inspectors helped him bring his stand up to code and paid the $87 fee for his permit out of their own pockets. Kids grossing $200 to $300 per day just on hot dog sales, not including chips and drinks. This kid is killing it. IRS, hello there. And all he needed was a small loan of $87. That's more than I make working 2 jobs. No drugs, no alcohol, no driving, no sex, but you still gotta pay tax at 14? Hello kid, open an Roth IRA now. My brother is a police officer and has been for over 20 years. He always told me he has been reveling for the day that he gets a call about a kid's lemonade stand. Sure enough, this summer, some miserable sod called the police that some kid was operating a lemonade stand without a permit or whatever reason she thought that it shouldn't be allowed. With glee he headed to the address. Got out of his car, did the whole small town Sheriff John Wayne walk to the lemonade stand. The dad was there, clearly ready for an argument. Walks up to the stand. Kid selling lemonade and Kool-Aid. Brother just stares for a few seconds. Brother proceeds to buy a lemonade, chugs it, says hot day, I'll have another, buys a second and walks away. He then calls me giggling like a child that it finally happened. He's been waiting for years for this oddly specific scenario and finally got to be the cool cop of his dreams. Talking makes me thirsty, think I'll take 2 lemonades. Interestingly enough, it's 100% legal for kids to run a lemonade stand in California, Colorado, Connecticut, Illinois, Louisiana, Massachusetts, Minnesota, Missouri, Nebraska, Nevada, New York, North Dakota, Texas, Utah, or Vermont. Other states might find you in violation of operating without a business license, lack of adherence to health codes, or even child labor laws. Op was patrolling late at night in a well-known lover's spot, famous for all obscene activities. He sees a couple in a car, with the interior light brightly glowing. The cop carefully approaches the car to get a closer look. Then he sees a young man behind the wheel, reading a computer magazine. He immediately notices a young woman in the rear seat, knitting. Puzzled by this surprising situation, the cop walks to the car and gently raps on the driver's window. The young man lowers his window. Yes, officer. The cop says, what are you doing? The young man says, well, officer, I'm reading a magazine. Pointing towards the young woman in the back seat, the cop says, and her, what is she doing? The young man shrugs, sir, I believe she's knitting a pullover sweater. Now, the cop is totally confused. A young couple, alone, in a car, at night in a lover's lane, and nothing obscene is happening. The cop asks, what's your age, young man? The young man says, I'm 22, sir. The cop asks, and her, what's her age? The young man looks at his watch and replies, she'll be 18 in 11 minutes. What about the law though? What about the law? Wow, can't believe the police can get away with this much corruption. Tell your bro to keep being a bro. The thing about a lemonade stand is that it's very hard to make lemonade in a way that will make people sick. The citric acid is going to kill off most of the bacteria that can be passed between people. It's safer than serving water. A hot dog stand, on the other hand, improper handling can literally get someone killed. She must be a member of r/Hydro homies. I already love him. Your brother sounds like a good guy. I don't get how people can be so miserable, that they would do something like this. The last movie/show that exploited this archetype that I've seen is Stranger Things, and now I couldn't get the image of Chief Hopper out of my head while reading your comment. Next time he should call in the rest of his squad. The kid would be thrilled to have a line of cops waiting for his lemonade. I'm not much for propaganda, but that would make for a great picture, and sometimes you've just gotta give the finger to the overbearing neighbors. Stop resisting my urge to drink more lemonade. I wonder if the dad was thinking, did I just stare down a cop? Sure enough, this summer, some miserable sod called. Is this how it's said / pronounced? I always thought it was sob for son if a bitch. The madlad spent years to become a cop just to do this. Some grumpy old man must be fuming now. I was thinking it was a homeowners association lady with a "can I speak to your manager" haircut named Debbie or Pam. To be fair, serving hot dogs is not the same as selling lemonade. There is a lot more that can go wrong in the preparation of grains and proteins than citric acid drink. I mean, kid or not, he still should follow food health and safety regulations. Or he's happy that laws are being followed. I was gonna say, somewhere there is an old man and / or a cop who is furious that this kid got away with it. You do know that just because they are kids doesn't mean they get a free pass. Every food vendor should have a permit. Why do you think it's okay for a kid to be selling cooked food products unregulated? Literally the only reason you usually don't get the shits when you visit a restaurant or food stall is because those places are regulated and are forced to get permits. It's baffling to me why people think it's awful when kids selling food off the street get reported to their local health department. There's a section of my state's food code that explicitly says kids 12 or under are allowed to have lemonade stands and sell non-pedishabkis like cookies. He did nothing wrong. Hot dog stands are filthy if left unchecked. This way the kid has legit business and is accountable for cleanliness of the stand and prevention of food poisoning. It's a 13-year-old. Somebody probably reported him when they saw him put one on the grill after it fell down, or touching the wieners after touching his wiener. I generally see comments like this and I get the impression that people think that food stands should be able to be opened without any regulatory oversight. Well, I mean, it's all fun and games till someone gets food poisoning. And that boy's name? Oscar Mayer, and that's the rest of the story. Thanks, Paul Harvey. Isn't the phrase "and the rest is history"? Or was this intentional? I kinda wish the story ended with a mysterious outbreak of food poisoning that remained unsolved to this day. But the hot dogs were probably fantastic. There is so much shit in hot dogs, you could eat the dollar store ones raw for a decade and never get sick from the dogs. Probably not the ideal diet. Last time this was reposted, someone commented that they read in the news the kid did get shut down. He didn't continue following the health code and got some people sick. I'm not sure about the validity of it, but that's what he said. This is awesome. We had a hot dog stand outside a busy bar in the small town I'm from. A deli opened up around the corner that stayed open till the bars closed. The deli then had the hot dog stand shut down, pulling some 30-plus-year-old town ordinance saying he couldn't sell food on the streets. The deli in turn shut down a few months later because of poor management and not so great food, which, in turn, left hungry drunk people to wander around without yummy hot dogs. I was hoping you were gonna say it shut down due to people not going to it because of the shitty move they pulled. One thing that sucks about small towns and cities: seemingly zero street food vendors. Deli owner was a major prick, sad face. Hank, I have never been more proud of my state regulators. Can you believe Bobby tried to run a hot dog stand without even having a permit? I don't know what he was thinking. Imagine if the media had gotten a hold of this story. Sips beer. I didn't want to report him, but I'm not about to be the father of a scofflaw. Dale, you snitched on your own flesh and blood. That says a lot about you, Hank. Puff cigarette. Wait a minute, the pieces are falling in place. Falling, yes, fallen. Now I know how the fire marshal found out about my fire-breathing guardian dragon garden. It was you, wasn't it? Hank scoffs. Dale, that eyesore was going to lower the property value of the entire goddamn neighborhood. I would have had to get my annual home appraisal done early just to plan for the projected tax for next year. Dale, why? Why do you have to destroy everything you could someday love? My guardian? My guard tower? My barbed wire guard fence? Boomhauer, Yo, man. Talk about them, hot dogs, man. Grilled, burned, boiled, still good, I tell why what, man, cold hot dogs, ugh, dang ol, hot dogs, corn dog, chili, relish, man, mystery of life, man, how they make 'em with cheese, cheese in the dang ol middle, man. Bill, I had a lemonade stand when I was Bobby's age. I always say, when life hands you lemons, make lemonade. Seems like. Looking down at his beer, it's like I've got plenty of lemons these days but no one's thirsty. Edit, typo. I'm not sure if you wrote that or if it's actual quotes from the show. I'd say well done, but then you might ask me to leave. The only thing this is missing is Con coming over, calling everyone hillbillies and then flaunting that Connie got a job at a franchised lemonade store. I look for your comments in top front page threads. Ha ha ha, this was great. The dialogue is written exactly as they would say it. Holy shit, this is amazing, LMAO, especially Bill's line. Now this is some quality OC and OC accessories. I tell you what. I enjoyed reading this in their voices. Thank you, sir. Still not sure if that was an actual scene or you made it up, but that was brilliant. The Bill line was especially perfect. What show is this? This is bullshit. Hank would never have a problem with this. Those inspectors average $52,000 a year. $87 is about 4 times their hourly wage. I hope they don't ever lose perspective. We need more people like this. Plural doesn't mean that each person paid $87. A government of the people, for the people. They only let him work 3 hours a day because of child health laws. As parent of 7 and 10, yo, it is crazy now trying to raise them without being bombarded by complaints and opinions that completely contradict each other. Whatever you do is wrong. They shouldn't be inside on video games all day, but they shouldn't be out riding their bikes on their own cause they could get hit by a car or kidnapped. They are all entitled brats cause you do everything for them, but if you let them have any independence, you are a horrible detached parent for not spending all your time being with them. Crap like that. I do wonder if parents from every generation feel this way and it is just more noticeable now because of the internet, or if it is just something we parents nowadays deal with. I was dead set on finding a neighborhood like I grew up in, and I am very lucky that we did. It has kids every which way all the time. Running around in and out of everyone's houses and yards, a common area they all gather, and parents looking out for everyone's kids rather than complaining about them. No complaints of kids always in streets playing, riding bikes, etc. I really hope we never have someone move in that spoils it all. I do wonder if parents from every generation feel this way and it is just more noticeable now because of the internet, or if it is just something we parents nowadays deal with. I suspect it's amplified quite a bit by the internet outrage machine. People having strong, and contradictory, opinions about parenting is nothing new though. Although, I think that your kid will get hit by a car or kidnapped if you're not watching them 24/7 thing is nuisance about the 80s. Back then there was a rash of kidnappings and the media made a big scare of it that sort of helped to launch the helicopter parenting fad. That said, I do wish the parents in my area that let their kids out on bikes would at least teach them basic bike safety. Like, stop at stop signs, and ride with the flow of traffic, and at least wear a helmet. I see so many kids in this neighborhood riding bikes and they don't have helmets and they don't seem to know the rules of the road at all. Shout out to the health department guys under Dan Huff. They talked about how to help him, and then did so. Health department staff made sure he had the necessary equipment: thermometers, food containers, hand sanitizer, and utensil cleaning stations, as well as knowledge about proper food handling. Once he passed his health inspection, inspectors paid the $87 for the special event food permit. And hooked him up with Northside Economic Opportunity Network, NEON, officials who helped engage in business-savvy inspectors sat down to talk about business strategy, finances, and marketing. Faulkner engaged officers with the Minneapolis Police Department. Dropped off a brand new, bright red, and shiny hot dog stand. The police also bought him juice and soda as well as ketchup, mustard and other supplies. Joaquin Faulkner himself and his uncle Jerome. Joaquin for pushing ahead, working hard, engaging, and for the thought to put 25 cents from every hot dog sale toward raising awareness about youth suicide and depression, and for the smile as he sells them. Indeed, the health department isn't trying to catch people like the police, because health department fines don't go back to the health department. An ideal inspection for a health inspector is where everything is perfect so they don't have to do anything. Source: I run a food booth in California and Nevada. Wow, that's the whole town joining in on the fuck you to whoever called in to complain about him. Minnesotan nice. Minnesotan nice was the neighbor who called the health department but smiled as she walked by. Canadalite. Where I'm from, the suburbanites will praise their children for selling lemonade outside, while chastising inner city kids who sell bottled water. Always something to complain about. I don't know about the inner city kids selling water, but I remember hearing that in Saratoga Springs, New York, home of the famous racetrack and not a poor area at all, it was discovered that some of the kids selling water outside of the track were actually fronts for larger organizations and not just some kid trying to make a few bucks but planned out operations with turf wars and everything. It's due to location. Officials sell permits to set up shops in high traffic or solitary areas, like airports. If you sell there and try to undercut the people who paid to be there, they're going to call the police to enforce their permitted rights. When I read bottled water arrest stories, they're always at some place like the National Mall, where it's all permitted. Setting up bottled water shops outside their apartments, like most lemonade stands are, would not incur this wrath. There were a couple of kids last year, I think in a lower income area, set up at a 5-way stop. They had a big tub of ice and pop cans and a sign that said, "We want new bikes, pop 50 cents a can." Kids were running hard and there was another one on the way with a wagon stacked with more cases of cans. Fuck, to open a hot dog stand in my town costs $100,000 just for the license. Atlanta. Free market. He got a temporary permit. That is cool as shit. If someone tried that here in Philly, I'm certain the health department would have burned it to the ground. To say nothing of the passers-by. What part of Philly do you live? Unlicensed street food vendors are everywhere. Got to FDR Park on a summer Sunday afternoon and feast on Khmer food. Chew Park on Washington Avenue, there's a family who sells snacks, hot dogs, burgers and soda when they have summer league games going on. 2nd and Cambria, they grill chicken kebabs outside. They sell waters at the intersection of Oregon. South Street next to the water, same thing. Philly got a lot of issues, but this ain't one of them. It's almost like health department regulations exist for a reason, and running a business out of your home requires permits. Thank you. I posted it there as well. I like how the inspectors knew to discuss this internally before going to see the kid. It seems they knew it would get media attention and didn't want the news narrative to be health inspectors shut down a kid's hot dog stand. I love in Minnesota and the local news covered this, so people came out in droves to support the kid. They still do. Health inspectors aren't like the police, they don't get a bounty for shutting something down or fining them. It's so much easier to help someone get into compliance, because their objective is public health. I had a snow cone stand in the early 90s in my neighborhood. Our prices undercut the snow cone van guy that drove around the neighborhood every day during the summers. We had better snow cones too. We had one of those hand crank ice shavers, whereas the snow cone van guy had chunky, icy snow. This fool parked his van in our front yard on a Sunday morning, came to our door, and my mom answered. He threatened to sue us for not having a permit. Mom laughed in his face, shooed him away with her foot, shut the door, and he kept yelling at us for 2 more minutes on the lawn before driving away. Never heard from him again, and our street was no longer on his route. Sounds like a case of predatory pricing if you ask me, lol. Thanks for watching. If you could like, subscribe and comment best Reddit stories for more Reddit videos.